Hey everyone, last week we saw so many great announcements in the field of AI. The biggest announcement was from Google releasing Gemini 3, which comes with tons of features. So let's start with gemini.google.com. Here we are in the Gemini interface, and you can interact with the agent itself by simply typing something like hi, for example. As you can see, Gemini comes with multiple tools, including deep research. You can create images with Nano Banana. There's Canvas, and so many other options are available. You can upload files directly, add content from Google Drive, photos, and everything else you need. So this is the overall Gemini experience. Now let's talk about Stitch. Stitch is for front-end developers, and the benefit here is you can create an app or a website of your choice. You can describe your design and select what options you want. You can also upload images or provide a website URL to use as a reference, and then enhance that experience altogether. Let's look at some of the examples. Take the indoor plant care dashboard. This started with a single prompt, and you can see the multiple pages it automatically created. Another powerful feature is you can select all these different pages that it created. You can click on export, and from here you can directly go to AI Studio. AI Studio receives all the context, including the HTML and image files, and uses that to create an actual app which you can then deploy on GCP or push to your GitHub repository. From there, you can use any hosting websites of your choice. The simplest being deploying it to GCP directly, but you can upload to Replit, AWS, or download it as a zip file. When you go to AI Studio from here, you can choose the model of your choice and select the template you want, either Angular or React. Once you go through this process, as I said, you can quickly deploy your application to GCP. This is a very powerful feature and integration that I have noticed as part of this new set of releases. With Gemini 3 announcements, Google also released their AI IDE called Antigravity. I have tested this IDE and it's amazing. The biggest step change is the inclusion of a multi-agent approach and integration with your browser through an extension that you can install on Google Chrome. Like many AI IDEs these days, Antigravity is also a fork from Visual Studio Code. You can see the majority of the interface is the same as what you are used to. However, there are a few key additions. On the right side, you can start interacting via chat, and they are bringing the concept of planning as well as fast modes. These are two different modes in which you can run the agent. You can bring in additional context like mentions, workflows, and images. And you can also choose between multiple models, including Gemini 3 Pro High, Gemini 3 Pro Low, Claude Sonnet 4.5, GPT OSS 120 billion model. You can start working with the agent from here. A cool feature here is that you can open the agent manager experience, which is completely separate from the main IDE. Here you can see the different workspaces you're working on and open a new workspace. You can start with the knowledge tab. This shows all the knowledge that has been collected by the agent itself. You can also open the browser. This is a fantastic experience. Antigravity has an extension that installs on Google Chrome, and the IDE has direct integration with the browser. The agent can control Chrome via this extension. The benefit is when you are working on a specific front-end user experience, the agent can see what's happening on the front end itself. That adds more context to the agent, which helps create a better troubleshooting experience. Now, this is a game changer. Now, when creating front ends, Antigravity can see how the end result actually looks like and make adjustments accordingly. Amazon also announced that Kiro, their agentic AI IDE, is now generally available for everyone to download. I'm using this full time and it's a game changer, especially the spec-driven development. And now with property-based testing, it makes sure that AI doesn't hallucinate and we strictly stick to our requirements. Let's do a quick demo. There are multiple authentication options available. If you already have an AWS Builder ID, you can use that. For enterprise organizations, you can use the organization identity through AWS IAM Identity Center. For the sake of my testing, I'll be using Builder ID. It will open a new browser to authenticate. Once authenticated, you then allow access to the Kiro experience. This is what you see when you first log in. You can start opening a folder or clone a repository. All of this is the same experience if you are coming from Visual Studio Code, since Kiro is built on the same foundation. You can see there's a new button which focuses on Kiro related settings. Here you can start opening a project. So I've opened a project and you can see there are two main modes. One is vibe coding. It chats first and then builds. The other is spec mode. It plans first, then builds. When you select spec mode and give your prompt, it starts with a design document, then creates the requirements and finally breaks those down into actionable tasks. This is a structured way of developing. You can review each stage and run tasks one by one based on your requirements. Kiro can also generate steering documents for you based on your existing code base. You also have access to MCP servers. You can click on the edit button and add MCP servers so that you can interact with external tools with additional context. I've added a few MCP servers, but you can add any other MCP server of your choice. You can also add additional context. There are multiple options available, including images. The important feature here is property-based testing. You can enable this by mentioning it in your chat prompt itself. This adds property-based test under the tasks, which helps avoid hallucinations by verifying the code actually matches what you specified. Kiro also has integration with GitHub Actions, but that's a topic for another deep dive. As for pricing, there is a free tier with 500 credits available. Beyond that, you can purchase a subscription starting at $20 per month for Kiro Pro. AWS also released recently Amazon Quick Suite. Amazon Quick Suite answers your questions and turns those answers into actions using agentic teammates for research, business insights, and automation. This is an evolution to Amazon QuickSight. And if you are interested in a deep dive on this, I can record a separate video. Please let me know in the comment sections below. I've been using Databricks Free Edition to explore the platform, and I'm genuinely impressed. It offers serverless compute completely free, and you can access almost all the features available to premium customers. This includes the Unity catalog, ingestion and ETL pipelines, and most importantly, creating notebooks. These notebooks are powered by AI, so you can quickly tackle data engineering and machine learning tasks. And when you get stuck, you can ask the AI to help with the syntax or code. Let's see this in action. Head over to databricks.com, which offers a free version. Click on Try Databricks and sign up with your Google or Microsoft email address. I've already done that, and when you land on the Databricks homepage, you'll see the welcome page like this. From here, you can upload data, browse public data sets, and connect to over 50 data sources. There are also learning resources available, including the intro video about the free edition. At the top, you have search option to find assets. On the left side is the workspace. This is a shared environment where you'll have your folders, files, and assets. You can collaborate by adding team members here. Under recents, you'll see your recent work. Under catalog, you can access the Unity catalog. Once you access the Unity catalog, click on the settings button, then connections. I already have a Redshift connection set up, but you can add new ones. Redshift, Databricks, dbt, Snowflake. There's so many options available to connect to. Within the catalog itself, I have a Redshift catalog configured, but you can create new catalogs and set up external locations as needed. Now let's look at some data. Under samples, there's preloaded data you can interact with right away. For example, under AccuWeather, there's a daily calendar table. Click on create and you have several options: query, notebook, dashboard, Genie space, or metric view. Now let's start with a query. It automatically populates the SQL for you. Just click Run. The free version includes serverless compute that spins up automatically behind the scenes. You can see the query running, and here's the output. The results displayed in table format. You can download them, check query performance, or export as CSV or Excel. Now let's try a notebook. Going back to the same table under samples, I'll click Create and select Notebook. The notebook automatically populates the SQL query in the first cell. I'll run that. On the left, you still have access to the workspace and the catalog, the same tables we were just looking at. When the cell runs, the results appear in the tabular form and are stored in a SQL data frame. You can reference that data frame in a subsequent cells. Here's where it gets interesting. You can use the AI assistant. Let me ask it to use PySpark to query weather data. Watch this. It automatically generates the Spark code, creates a data frame, and displays the results. I'll run this Python cell and here's the output, ready for me to work with. On the top right, there's an AI assistant button. Click it and a chat panel opens on the right, where you can interact with the AI agent directly. There's so much more. Data engineering, job runs, data ingestion, machine learning playground for experiments and model management, and serving for deploying your machine learning models. All accessible from the main menu. This notebook experience was my favorite feature, and now AWS has introduced something very similar with their recent release, IAM-based SageMaker Unified Studio. I've been playing around with it and it's impressive. It brings almost the same experience I love in Databricks directly to AWS, working seamlessly with your AWS data. So let's see this in action. When you first log into AWS console, navigate to Amazon SageMaker. Here you click on Get Started. You only need to visit this one screen. You can click on Auto Create a new role with admin permissions or use your existing role. You can enable S3 table integrations. For encryption, you can choose between AWS own keys or your own KMS key. And click on Setup. This takes a couple of minutes. It's a one-time setup, and once complete, you'll be able to access the Unified Studio. Now the setup is complete. We can click on the Open link here. When you open this link, it will open the Unified Studio experience. Click on Sign In. This uses the IAM role associated with my user, which it automatically created. I could have chosen to select one myself. Now this is the user interface. You can see it created an admin project, and I can go to Manage Projects. I can create a new project with a description and assign the roles that have access to it. But for the sake of this demo, let me show you the features. On the top right, I can see I'm connected as a root user. In the overview, you can jump to different sections, explore the data, build in Notebook, and discover machine learning models. I can start with some sample data here. Under the Files tab, you can see I don't have anything yet. However, I can click this button to upload files directly from my machine. On the left side, we have the Data tab. This shows all the catalogs in my AWS account. Currently, I only have a sample database, the customer churn dataset. I can quickly query this, which jumps to the query editor experience. Here, once it runs, it shows the table itself. You can switch between the visualization as well of the results. Some basic visualizations are available at this point. Now let me create a new notebook from the Data tab. When I do that, this opens the new notebook experience. From here, you can select between Athena SQL, Athena Spark, or data frames. You can add additional connections as well. From here, I can simply click Run. Now it uses Athena SQL to execute this. The great thing is you can look at the profile for each column. We can also create some quick charts. The output is stored in this data frame. From here, you can click on Python copy this reference and use it in your Python code. When you run this, it's the same data. You can switch seamlessly between SQL and Python. So for example, I can create a chart and use the specific data frame we created. I can select my x-axis, y-axis, color, and other visual aspects. We can add a new cell by clicking on Python. And we can also click on generate. It uses generative AI to write code for us. So let me type query churn table y Spark SQL. With this, it uses AI to generate code for us. Here is the code, and we can click accept and run this. Now it's using Spark SQL. It will automatically spin up the Spark runtime for us. And now in a few seconds, I can access my data using Spark data frames as well. And this is a game changer for customers to start querying the data on AWS within minutes. You just need to go to Amazon SageMaker console in your AWS console and click on getting started. With a single page setup, you can interact with the data you have access to, whether it's on S3, S3 tables, Redshift, or even third-party data via connections. These are actual uses of AI that we are seeing more and more. With this healthy competition, we, the consumers, are the winners. Let me know if you'd like me to do a deep dive on any of these services or features. Thanks for watching.